Welcome to Staying Sweet, the podcast. Tune into my weekly podcast to hear me, Alice Bradley, delve deeper into building your personal brand, up-level your mindset and tap into your highest potential using what makes you, you, all while staying sweet, of course. Whether you're looking to level up within an existing business, start something of your own, or create a fulfilling, balanced and healthier lifestyle, each episode will be curated especially to inspire and encourage your own success. Plus, don't miss out on the Staying Sweet specials, a series of exclusive interviews and conversations with Alice's network of entrepreneurs and brand owners. Don't forget there are new episodes every Monday. If you enjoyed the podcast, please do leave a rate and review. For more daily content, check out @Staying Sweet Podcast over on Instagram. Stay sweet. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Staying Sweet, the podcast. It's lovely to be on and talking to you in real time. I had a few episodes backlogged, so I actually haven't recorded in a little while, but I'm ready and raring to chat to you guys today about the fact that we're well and truly in the last quarter of the year. It's officially the end of October and we are trailing into November. I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe the clocks have gone backwards. I know it happens every year, guys. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, it still feels surreal and it just feels like the year is really closing out. So with that being said, with that time of year in mind, I think it's so important that we talk about revisiting our goals, how to set ourselves up for success for the new year now rather than waiting towards the end of December when we're feeling sluggish, we've eaten lots of food and we're just enjoying the party season and then getting ready for January, which January always feels like this time of year where we have to be taking action, but actually action should be taken all the time. It's just sort of tapping into our energies differently and utilising what we have in front of us in this last quarter. We're in quarter four and I love quarter four actually. I think quarter four has so much potential. It's a busy time of year, yes, but it's also a really, really interesting time where you start to look back on your year and work out, where you were being successful, things that you could have improved on, areas that you could have improved on, and also looking at how much has changed. Like for me, I look back at January Alice, and I think, my God, I'm so different now to where I was in January. I started Staying Sweet, the podcast in January, and here we are, series 2. The ball is rolling and I know where I am and I'm really, really excited about the future of the podcast. So a lot can happen in the space of a year. Of course, we know it and we feel it when we do look back. But I do think we tend to slow down around this time of year and it's understandable. It's winter. It's a lot harder to get things done. The darker nights definitely impact our mental health and our productivity and our workflow. But I want us to utilise this time to really get ourselves ready for the new year. So we're going to be talking about how to plan for this last quarter, how to thrive, and how we can use this slowing down period as a way to actually have that final push to fruition, get our goals achieved and get things moving for the following year. Like always be thinking about where we're flowing to next. So you really want to succeed next year in January. You don't want to start a blank. There's nothing worse than that sort of, oh my gosh, I don't really know what my goals are. I don't know where I want to be. The new year, new me we've said it a million times, but it's just such a stressful period. And I feel like, why do that then when you can be thinking now, okay, this is where my business is going, or this is where my personal brand is going. Maybe you're even thinking about like personal life goals as well. I feel like this really does apply in all areas. So don't just take this as a business only episode. I think this is a really good episode for those of you who are thinking about future goals for next year, getting yourself geared up, ready to go, and just ready to take action. So I want you to take action in the best possible way. The more we can pre-plan for this last quarter and for the rest of the year, the quicker we hit the ground running. So I'm super excited to talk to you about the last quarter. But firstly, we have to start with some updates because I feel like lots has been going on since I last sat down to record. I've been traveling a fair bit. I've been meeting lots of amazing journalists and just immersing myself in the world of travel. I've been very fortunate to have back-to-back trips and be working with amazing luxury brands across different areas, from luxury sort of alcohol brands, restaurants, and also hotel groups and tour guide operators as well. So I've really been tapping into my travel side, which always brings out new inspiration and motivation within me. I'll be honest, guys, though, bits of travel have been trickling in. For the most part, I think I've maybe got one more trip in me for this year, and then that's going to be it. I am going to be taking some time just away from travel because it does eat into a lot of my other activities, my organisation. I have definitely found that I've just been putting off other areas of my business and other responsibilities, which I shouldn't be doing. So just saying no to travel for definitely December is going to do the most, because it's already a busy year and it's a time of year where you want to enjoy activities with friends, and I feel like we don't plan properly in the last quarter and we don't take into consideration that not everything is going to be business focused. So I think that's been really the eye-opener for me. I want to talk about it today, and I know you guys are going to benefit from it as well. But for me, travel is kind of going to be out of the window for December. I'm also, guys, super proud of my social channels lately. So after getting back from traveling, did a bit of a rethink and just been on it with the strategy for season 2. And I'm loving the new strategy. I'm loving sharing more video-based content with my audio and allowing you guys to enjoy the audio, have a little slice of the episode and just see if it's an episode for you. I feel like you're going to be much more drawn in if you hear an audio clip and it resonates, because I've been loving motivational TikToks and like motivational quotes on TikToks where people kind of add it to a reel, add it to a video of a daily vlog or part of their day and just apply it to their life. And I feel like, oh my gosh, my audios have such potential to do that as well. So I really hope that this episode is going to be inspiring. I've been sharing lots and lots on my social media. I've also, guys, rebranded my YouTube channel, which my YouTube channel I started a couple of years ago, and I did have a clear direction within fashion and manifestation. And it's been lovely to see that, you know, YouTube channel grow. It's just over 100k, absolutely not, but a girl can dream. Eventually, hopefully, 1k subscribers, guys. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. 1k subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I just thought, you know what, Alice, you've worked so hard growing that channel. Don't lose it, and don't, you know, miss out on the opportunity to tap into an audience who are most likely going to resonate with your podcast if they were already resonating with your other content, especially my manifestation content. So I really made the executive decision to restart it, give it a new vibe, get my audios from season 1. And obviously season 2 will be going on there as well, but getting season 1 at least on my YouTube channel. So that's been trickling out. I'll make sure to pop that in the description of this podcast episode for you guys to check out. But I now have a YouTube channel. So if you prefer listening to podcasts on YouTube, or you want to share the podcast with somebody who does prefer YouTube content, then you can do so. I really want to know if it's going to be something that you would consume and enjoy. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, welcome, hello. I hope you're enjoying the Staying Sweet community over on YouTube. I do have a bit of a goal, not a bit of a goal, I do have a goal to eventually have a video accompanying that audio, and I would love to have an actual visual setup for you guys to enjoy, just because there's something nice about the two options. Either you're listening to it for the audio purposes, or you're more audio visual and you need that prompt and you need that kind of visual reassurance as well. I really enjoy watching podcasts. Not everyone, but there's quite a few people that I do enjoy watching. So I eventually want to give my audience that opportunity and that choice. So fingers crossed, maybe next year there'll be a lovely setup. Again, it's on the vision board. It's something that I definitely want to do. But yeah, I feel like that's really all I have for my updates this week. I actually haven't got a quote of the week, surprisingly. But I feel like I'm going to just let this episode flow. And why don't you guys pick out the quote of the week? So if it's something that resonates with you, I'd love you to use the audio from this podcast in some way. If there's a way that you can repurpose it, I'm going to make it an option for you. I really want this episode to give you that like little kick up the bum. And I say that because I need a kick up the bum. So I feel like maybe this podcast episode is going to actually get my arse in gear as well. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about the last quarter. And I want to touch on finalising your goals because I feel like that's the place you need to start. The last quarter is notoriously considered the busiest time of year. You know, we've got Black Friday, we've just had Halloween, we've got the winter season, we've got Christmas. Having a strong plan and a strong focus, not only on your goals, but what you're going to do with each and every day, that is really going to help leverage this time of year, you know, to get what you need done. So for me, I need to go back to the drawing board and I need to look at where I was kind of positioning myself at the start of the year, those big goals that I set for myself. I always do tap in and out of new goals coming in, and I do a monthly plan and I change my vision boards a lot. But I think going back to like your first vision board or your first set of goals, that is going to show you how much things have changed and how you're sort of flowing within your business or your personal brand or your personal life. So look at that and look at the bigger picture. Think about the steps towards each business goal or each personal goal and how you can get there, because these goals can be realistically achieved in this last quarter. It's not impossible. And for me, the action plan is going to set you up for success. So we're going to talk about that. So what I've been kind of working on lately is having a visual monthly calendar in front of me. I can literally see the next few months. Actually, I've got the last quarter on and in front of me, literally at my desk. And for me, I need to see each day as like a month view. Everyone's going to be different. Not everyone's going to like that format. So find a format that works for you. But for me, I need to see a month overview wherever I put my dates and I fill in my different bits for my business, because there's nothing worse than committing yourself to something and then forgetting the next day you have another big project and the deadlines are unrealistic or you can't commit or you're going to be burnt out. So think about the month overview. And let's be realistic here, guys. We need to start with the dates that you know you have things coming up. And I'm talking the full works. I'm talking like meeting up with friends, scheduling in activities, commitments, the dentist, doing your tax return, all these different things. Those are the things you need to put in to your calendar first before you commit and say yes to anything else. Your non-negotiables need to go into your monthly planner first. That is going to help you be much more realistic, because this last quarter is inevitably going to be a whirlwind. Please, please, please don't overbook. Don't overcommit yourself to things when in reality you might hit a weekend and be like, my God, if I don't have a break, if I don't do nothing this weekend and sit and watch Netflix all day in bed, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. And I say that because I've been there. I literally spent most of today in bed and I didn't know I needed it, but turns out I did. So if you make those plans and you make those commitments, you want to see them through, but just give yourself like rest days, even in the week if you can. If you are somebody who is self-employed or you have like alternative days off, factor that in and think about what you're going to do with your time. I also want you guys to think about how you're going to spend your evenings, because winter comes in, the nights draw in, it gets dark very quickly, and we do go into this like hibernation mode. But in summertime, we're more likely to go out and do things and have plans and take action. Whereas when it's dark, we're less likely to, and we kind of forget that it's not necessarily bedtime, it's just dark outside. So think about like how you can be productive in those kind of more sluggish times in the day. So for me, I would use that time of day to go to the gym. I'd schedule that in so I'm not, wasting my daylight hours in the gym, and I actually focus on, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z in the daytime, in the daylight. I'm going to benefit from that. And then when it gets dark, I'm going to motivate myself, move my body, get myself moving, and actually ticking another thing off my list, but when it's darker. I feel like that can really, really help you, especially with your sort of mindset and your mental health. For me, fitness is the most important thing in my daily day-to-day, and I have to do it in order to feel great. So make sure you're not stopping things from happening that you would normally do, if it was brighter and lighter outside. I also want you guys to tap into the spontaneous moments that this time of year offers. I find that we get opportunities present themselves at the very last minute, like literally the last minute. Things will happen, events will pop up. You need to take action if it aligns with you. Yes, don't overcommit and don't say yes to things if it really isn't necessary. I'm a big advocate now for not saying yes to anything that I don't really want to do. But in those moments of spontaneity, think about where it could take you towards the end of the month. Do the needle moving things. Do the damn thing, take the action, get yourself moving if it aligns with where you want to be. And if it's going to be beneficial, if it's going to be fun, if it's going to light you up, do it and just enjoy it as well. I think in order to be truly successful in the last quarter of your year, you need to intentionally focus on the vision you had for yourself over these last 12 months. Look at how you've adapted and evolved, how you were able to allow new experiences and opportunities that maybe you didn't fathom for yourself this year. This is the power of intention. This really is the power of your focus. When you show up with intention, you become the driving force of your own personal power, and that is the magnet ultimately for opportunities. So when you align yourself with your goals, things do lock into place and flow in. I've noticed it myself. I feel like this last quarter should be a combination of driving yourself forward to the end of the year with enough momentum to allow success back in the first quarter. You're directing that last quarter. You need to bring it back, full cycle and really go back to those first few weeks of the year when you were setting those intentions. It's time to close out some of those goals, honey, and get yourself ready for the new year. So let's talk about checking in, motivating yourself, and kind of doing the back end, I think, of the planning, which is the checking in on your goals and actually like looking and reflecting at what's been happening in the last few months and over the last 4 quarters, or three quarters really, ready for that last quarter. So our goals do change expectedly and they do change unexpectedly. So I think it's really important to have, I guess, quarterly meetings, either with yourself if you're a solo entrepreneur, someone like me, where you're doing everything solo pretty much. You're the director of, your own life, and no one is going to sit down with you and give you a monthly review. Like, you've got to do that yourself if you want to do it. But if it's something that will drive you forward, I think it's a good thing to do. So I think having scheduled, blocked out time, maybe at the end of the month or the last week of the month, to go over that particular month, or break it into quarters if you want to. I think sometimes breaking it into quarters allows you to have a bit more time to see things come in, because we don't always see instant success and things take time. I think maybe having a quarterly meeting scheduled, even if it's with yourself, to go over those goals so you're ready to hit the ground running. So I think right before we head into January, April, July and October is when you should be sitting down and kind of closing out each quarter. So, the end of December, thinking about, okay, what do I want to take into the first quarter of the next year? At the end of March, thinking about the second quarter, and so on and so forth. So that way you really are able to, I guess, create like a focus group from the data of your business and use that data to move into the next chapter of your business. So don't be afraid to check in. I think sometimes we go a bit like forward tunnel vision, and we forget to look back and go, right, okay, I didn't actually take any action in that area. I've kind of been neglecting it. And instead of looking back and going, right, okay, I need to work on that in this last quarter, we're kind of like pretending it didn't happen or pretending that we don't need to focus on it. So don't be afraid to check in. And if you do have things crop up that you're like, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't focus on this area of my business, and now it's slacking, like, this is your time to really, sort it out, because it's the last quarter. I say this in the nicest possible way because I'm also in that situation. I'm in that boat myself. So it's not always going to be smooth sailing. I don't mean to have a million, water-based metaphors in this podcast episode, but sometimes we don't see things coming in that end up coming in, and we have to ride the waves. We just have to make it work. Really just, allow yourself to check in, allow yourself to have those regular meetings. The main purpose really is to assess your goals and the methods you're using to get there, and, are they actually working? Look at what is getting you closer to your goals and what isn't, because what might work for somebody else might not be working for you. And I've had this so many times. I've tried to force feed content or force feed different things because I thought that's what I needed in order to have a successful business. And actually, I could have been focusing on other areas that were bringing in success and just going, do you know what? Maybe that's not for me. So a big example of this is when I was doing YouTube videos, and yes, okay, it got my confidence up and most likely led me to what I'm doing now. I found sit-down videos miserable and I just didn't enjoy them. But yeah, I was forcing myself to do fashion hauls all the time. So I thought, if I do fashion hauls like everybody else, I'm going to grow and I'm going to be successful. But I just think it wasn't for me, and it wasn't what I needed to do in order to be successful. Turning this mic on and talking to you and motivating you, that lights me up. And I think that's what draws people in. When you focus on doing things that light you up and get you closer towards your goal, things start to come in much more easily. And I go back to that point that I said, where when you do align with your goals, things do lock into place, and these weird like synchronicities start to happen and these opportunities flow in, and you're kind of like, why the hell is it all coming in at once? Like, it's bizarre, but it's so true. When you stop forcing yourself to do certain things because everybody else is doing it, other opportunities come in. So just give yourself that grace as well. I think for me, I find creating podcasts, being in front of the mic, so to speak, and motivating you guys in some way, and just sharing my input and networking as well regularly. Those are all things that really light me up. Being on press trips as well keeps me active, both within the journalism industry and my love for writing, but also, aligning myself with people who would be so motivational for you guys to consume and listen to their stories and their journeys. So I've connected with a lot of amazing people recently, which I cannot wait to get them on the podcast. I'm sure maybe a couple I'll have to coax on, but I just know they'll be amazing and be so inspirational. So really just looking at what makes you and light you up. That is going to be the focus probably for the last quarter. Don't do anything that is not beneficial to you. And I'm lecturing you because it's important. Ultimately, you guys are laying the foundations, for your quarterly plan for 2023 in this last quarter, because I feel like the last quarter is like wrapping up all the things that you didn't quite finish this year, and most likely there'll be goals and things that you haven't achieved that you have to kind of knock on into the following year. Please don't be discredited by that either. I feel like it's so easy for us to go, oh my God, I didn't achieve this, or I didn't do this in my 2022 and I thought I was going to do this. And, don't be harsh on yourself. what things have come into your life that you weren't predicting but were positive as well. Think about it from another perspective. Don't think about it from a negative standpoint all the time. It's exciting as well to carry goals over, because if you ticked everything off, you're more likely to be sitting there with a blank slate and be thinking, oh my God, I need to come up with all these new goals I need to achieve for 2023 to be even better than my 2022. Again, really unhealthy and unnecessary. So just think about a realistic approach. And I think that's why I quite like the monthly overview, because it gives you a realistic approach to the final quarter. So you're laying those foundations for that quarterly plan. Things are going to come up throughout that might shake things out, shake things up. Goals might be completed quicker than expected. I think for you, in order to be successful, look at breaking down what your yearly goals are into monthly goals. So I know we're kind of over October now, but October, November, December. Think about your November goals, guys, and then think about your weekly goals. And please don't be inundating yourself with a million different goals, but just think of it as like a thing that you want to work towards that would get you closer towards the bigger goal. Have a weekly goal in place on a Monday morning, like have that at the top of your to-do list, and just use that to leverage yourself further to success. Your needle moving tasks, have it at the top so it does motivate you. Think about what you have accomplished this year. What have you done? What's been successful? What do you need to improve on? What can you be proud of? Celebrate your successes. We're all about celebrating wins here, big wins and small wins. It could be as small as, I don't know, deciding that you're going to open a bank account for your business. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, but that's a win. Sorting out your finances is a win. Sorting out, your vision board. I think vision boards are major. Sitting down and going on Pinterest and spending a Sunday, getting clear on your vision. That's a major win. It's a win that is going to get you closer towards success. Also think about positive things that you experienced that you weren't able to do before but presented themselves. And I've kind of said that a couple of times already in this episode, but I want you guys to focus on it. So really, I hope this episode has been, a nice little pep talk. It's given you an insight into kind of where I'm at and where I'm thinking, okay, right, Alice, it's time. I'm putting my glasses on. It's time to get clear on the outcome of 2022. If I was to summarize 2022, what words would I use? What things would I talk about? What were my wins? And I'm going to leave you with these journal prompts, because I think journaling is really one of the things that has brought me back to myself this year, and it's something that I've tapped into. So I want to share my journal prompts. You can just answer them if you like. After I read each question out, or you can sit and you can write them down. I'll have them in the show description and the show notes so that you can write them out word for word, and it's easy for you guys to comprehend, because I'm the type of person, weirdly, I don't know whether other people are the same, but when somebody says something, it takes me a few times to cognitively interpret that data. Whereas if something's written down, I'm very visual, I can read things and remember things very, very easily. But if I'm listening to something, I have to really be listening in order to take that information in. So I want to make sure that if anyone else is in the same position as me, you can also comprehend what I'm talking about, and you can write down the journal prompts. So let's start. What are my outstanding goals for the year? That is the first focus. What goals can be carried into the next year? What action points created the most traction within my brand or my business? What are my current needle moving tasks for this last quarter? And what do I want my business to look like at the end of the year? I would love to see you guys answer these questions. Obviously, this is more sort of business focused. I feel like you could tweak these for your personal life as well. But if you're wanting to and you're willing to, please do share your journal prompt answers, or the fact that you've even listened to this podcast episode. I love knowing that you guys are enjoying and listening to the podcast. Let me know, put a story up and tag Staying Sweet Podcast, and I would just love to see where you guys are taking your action for this last quarter of the year. I really hope this episode has been helpful. I feel super passionate about it, and it's exciting because it is the last quarter. This is quite a fun time of year, so really just enjoy it. Take time for you, structure yourself, get yourself a plan, and don't think that, at the end of December is a good time to be starting goals off, because start now. I promise you won't regret it. We're all hitting the ground running, and I want to motivate and inspire you towards a more successful future. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast episode. I will be back next Monday for a brand new episode. Make sure you check out the socials as well, and the YouTube if you haven't already, and have a fabulous week. Thank you so much for tuning in to Staying Sweet, the podcast. If you enjoyed listening, please do leave a rate and review, and I will catch you next week for a new episode.